Hi, I'm Heather Telford and I have an alcohol ink video for you. I'm using white craft plastic, lots of isopropyl alcohol, and for starters an eggplant alcohol ink from Ranger. I've put a lot of rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol on the panel for starters, and then a few drops of the eggplant so that I can move it around and pretty much cover the whole panel with ink. I don't want a lot of ink, but I do want lots of coverage there. This process for making flowers is something that I've been working on, but not something that I've totally mastered yet. I'm still experimenting with it. That's one of the original air blowers from Ranger. I know there's a new one, but I've been using this one. It's been working well. The only other color I'm using is this gilded alloy alcohol ink, also from Ranger. And what I want to do is create petals in the alcohol ink, and they will be rimmed with little edges of that gilded alloy. And there are several ways to do this, and I've done it several ways, and it's tricky. Well, I'm still finding it tricky to replicate my method each time. So come along for the ride with me, and maybe you'd like to try it, and I'm going to keep working on it. And if I work out more methods or improvements on my method, I will let you know. What is happening there is the rubbing alcohol is pushing out the metallics, the gilded alloy ink, and it's pushing it out to the edges, and that's what I want. I want a little rim of gold along the edges of each petal. But it's a balance between how much rubbing alcohol you have on your panel at a time, because that's what makes all the ink move, and how much air you're applying, because as you apply the air, everything starts drying. So you want enough rubbing alcohol to keep things moving and not dry up faster than you can move it. You see the issue here? So what I do as I go along is I do add more rubbing alcohol at certain times, just so I can really get that ink moving. But you can see on the outside I've already got my first layer of petals. I've sped this footage up. I certainly wasn't working that fast, but this plastic turntable that I got on Amazon is really handy for moving the panel round and round. So you can see I'm pushing the ink in from the outside, and then I start pushing it back again from the inside out, like inside of the flower, I mean. So I push it all in, and then when there's a lot build up in the center, then I start pushing it back out again to get another petal forming. So it's a little bit like the technique I showed in last week's alcohol ink video, where I pushed air from one side and then from the other. This time it's pushing from the outside of the flower towards the center, and then pushing from the center back out towards the edges of the petals. Just getting that ink to move and also dry, and dry with a little edge of purple from the eggplant or gold from the gilded. So I'm getting close to the center now, but it's fairly pale in there, so I am going to add a little bit more ink, a little bit of the gold, just so I can get more of those fine, delicate edges, petal edges right in the center. I have done some other flowers where I was able to do all the pushing of the air from the outside in, but that method didn't work on this one. So this method where I do a little pushing out, a little pushing in, seems to be working for this one. So I've pretty much got my flower shape there. I want to add a little bit of interest with some splatter. You know I love to add splatter to my watercolors. Well, I'm adding splatter, not of water, of alcohol ink there, and some landed in a bit of a blob, so I just move that purple around so that it's not bolder than all the rest. And I'll do a little bit of the gilded splatter as well, just with, that's an alcohol ink paintbrush from a set from Ranger, and so I'm picking up a little bit of the gilded and splattering that. And then to finish the flower, I'm just going to dot little dots of gilded in the center, and that's my process. I turned this one into a card with a piece of shimmer gold cardstock around the edge just to pick up the same color as the gilded alcohol ink. So just 2 inks for that technique, and I did the same sort of technique the other day on black craft plastic, also with the gilded. This one's a little more messy but kind of cool because the blue indigo ink that I used, when it was really diluted, it gave me that coppery brassy color of the petals, which makes for a really cool blue, copper, gold effect on black. I've got a few more cards made from my alcohol ink flower attempts over on my blog, cards.heathertelford.com. I hope you'll pop over there and see what I've been creating.